morning, guys. Welcome to day 4. We are on Unit 4, Week 5. We've been working on Research Question 4 this week, comparing how our job is different in different places. Today, what I want to do with you guys is I want to read a couple of paragraphs to you, and we're going to go through, and we're going to kind of not necessarily use the rubric on the paragraphs, but I do want to go through and see if we are able to follow their thinking clearly, to see if they use any linking language, to see what they're comparing and what they're connecting. So I want to go and review our linking language. I'm not going to read them all to you because we've already gone over them a couple of times this week. But while I'm reading, I'm going to have our book up on the screen, and you can either read along with me or you can listen. But I want you to see if you can hear any of this language within the couple of paragraphs that I'm about to read to you guys. So I'm going to read a field guide to your community, jobs and tourism. So we want to kind of think about what is the author's opinion on the topic, where does the author use linking language, what two things does this connect, how does it connect them, and can you follow the author's thinking? Could the author add or use any other linking language within their writing? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up. This is what I'm going to read right over here on page 22. It says jobs and tourism. Communities in beautiful natural settings usually have many people called tourists who come to visit. Tourism is one important way that many communities make money. No matter where people go on vacation, they want hotels for sleeping, restaurants for eating, and stores for shopping. People have jobs in all of these businesses. Jobs in tourism can be different based on why people visit that community. For example, people visit New York City as tourists all year round. So a chef in a fancy restaurant there has that job all year. People only visit mountains to ski during the snowy winter months and New Jersey beaches in the hot summer. So a chef at a fancy ski hotel or a beach restaurant may only have that job for a few months out of the year. So I want to look through. We can kind of get the author's opinion on this is that he's saying that jobs that are based on tourism are not necessarily going to be the same wherever they are located. We did see some linking language in there. I saw the word and, I saw for example right there. I do think that he could probably use a little bit more linking language in there, maybe to compare the two. So maybe instead of just saying and New Jersey beaches in the hot month, maybe he could say in addition to people only visiting mountains to ski during the snowy winter months, they also visit New Jersey beaches during the hot months. So there are some ways where we could fit in a little bit more linking language, but he did use it. Let's see, what other questions do we need to talk about? So what two things did that connect? It's connecting the way tourism is different depending on the climate in different regions and areas where they are. But you can also connect this to urban areas and rural areas. So if you think about what would tourism look like in an urban area, that's like New York City. So they're pretty busy all year long. People are going there. But in rural areas, there might not be as much tourism, but they do get a little bit. So they probably don't need as many hotels. They don't need as many restaurants because they're not going to have as much tourism. Because when I think of like tourism that might happen in a rural area, I think of like the Yellowstone National Park. Okay. So there's not probably people going there all the time because not everybody necessarily likes to hike. So there's not as many things for them to do. Whereas in New York City, people are going all the time. So there's lots of different things for them to do there. They can see Broadway shows, they can go to museums, they go out to eat at fancy restaurants. They get to walk around and just look in Times Square and take in all the different sites. Whereas if they were going to a more rural area like a national park, you might be camping maybe. So they wouldn't necessarily need a hotel. They might just need a couple of restaurants, nothing too many, because they might not really have that many people there at one time visiting. Same with there's not going to be a whole lot of museums because if people are going to a rural area like a national park, they're normally going to spend time out in nature. So I want you to think about that today when you're reading and you're writing. I want you to make sure that you're connecting two different things, that you're showing us how your job is different in these different areas. Make sure that we can follow your thinking. I think the author did a good job in allowing us to follow his thinking in those articles. And make sure that you go back and add linking language to your writing. All right, guys, bye.